Okay, and you probably want to get that over here so that you can see the stuff.
All right.
Makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we will get started. We just want to thank you all for coming and to our Family Nutrition Made Simple talk this evening. My name is Emily. I'm from Brigade Made Nutrition, and I'm a wife, a mom, a small business owner. My husband and I, Eric, own and operate CrossFit Brigade, which opened 13 years ago here in Chattanooga. And we added a health coaching business just a couple years ago. Since the pandemic, we really noted a growing need to kind of address the factors of life that are outside of the gym, kind of the other 23 hours of the day, and noticing that these lifestyle factors were having a really big impact on people that we were working with, and also just friends and family members. Let me add our friend Brad. And so this is a way that we can offer support and accountability in areas like sleep, nutrition, mindset, and movement. And then with me today is one of our Brigade Made Nutrition Health Coaches. This is Cherish Hamill.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cherish. I've been a member here at Brigade for about 5 years. I have my undergrad in exercise science. I have my master's in PE and health education. I also do some personal training and group fitness classes over the last 17 or so years. And I am really loving being a nutrition coach here at Brigade. I'm also a wife and a mom of 3 kids. So I understand the challenge of prioritizing health for myself and also my family with all the different ways that life kind of pulls you in different directions. So I'm excited to share with y'all some practical tips that I hope that you find helpful as I have.
So at our Brigade Made Nutrition, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't have to be complicated. And we focus on just a habits-based approach to help our clients reach their goals one step at a time. And we really are passionate about educating and mobilizing our communities that we're living and doing life with. And so we really appreciate you all showing up for this tonight. And we also have here, I want to welcome and thank Amy Loken of R3 for partnering with us to bring you this chat. We're neighbors here on the North Shore in Chattanooga, also working moms, small business women, and both really focused on making holistic health options available to keep you feeling your best. And so, Amy, can we, let me bring in another friend. And then Amy, I will try to unmute if you want to share a little bit more about what y'all do at R3.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this. And I'm, as a working mother and entrepreneur, business owner, I am very interested to learn as well. And I heard someone saying earlier that their child or grandchild would subside on chicken nuggets and pizza rolls. And I have someone that lives in my household that would do the same if I allowed it. So it will be good. It will be good to learn. So with R3 Chattanooga, the things that we offer are more in the recovery space. So helping with inflammation and pain. And I think, you know, what we all have learned through the years is that it can take a little bit longer to recover after physical activity as we get a little bit older. So taking the opportunity to, one, do a little bit of self-care and take care of yourself, as well as helping to aid your body to be able to continue with the types of movement to be able to, you know, just do all the things that we want to do physically. So, and we've been in business for 7 years. So it's definitely been a journey, but it definitely a very pleasure journey. So.
Good. Well, we love your services, Amy. Cryotherapy, cryofacials, cryoslimming. They do LED work. I recently had a really bad sinus infection.
Yeah.
I was able to try the halo therapy. I did a couple sessions in this little salt booth, and I got a great result from it and didn't really have to medicate myself with the sinus infection. So it was a really wonderful alternative and very easy. It was 10 minutes in there. So I really appreciate having partners like Amy. So moving into kind of our framework, we mentioned we're designed to kind of help you connect the dots around these different areas of your life that are all really intertwined, and they're really impossible to sort of segment off in a vacuum. Your sleep, your stress, your exercise, even support system, lifestyle, and nutrition. But services like Amy offers, they can be great tools for stress management, recovery, and sleep. even lifestyle, going to treat yourself to a facial. So again, we really just value having partners like Amy, and we think there's a lot of benefits between our membership and populations. So, all right, a little bit of the hard stuff. I wanted to start the talk because I think that if we go through some of these really kind of alarming statistics, that it can bring more gravity to like how important this conversation is tonight. So I do have my PSA on sugar, and I'll just start by sharing some facts that have really opened my eyes a lot over the last few years on sugar, in hopes that we'll all kind of see the importance again of the situation our kids face. And then we'll get to the fun stuff and kind of how to of giving our families better options and tools and making it a family affair. So I think something that I share with people pretty much on a daily basis when I'm working with them is this American Heart Association number of recommended, how much added sugars are recommended by the American Heart Association. Let me mute Eric. And that number is just 25 grams of added sugars per day. And this is a unique little number that you find on a nutrition label. It's not your sugar, but it's your added sugars. So it's a little bit different. We're not talking about natural sugars like bananas and apples, but we're talking about added sugars to our products. So the number is 25 grams for children and teens. It's also 25 grams for females, and it's about 35 grams for males. But right now, kids age 2 to 19, they're averaging 68 grams of sugar per day, according to the CDC. And then adults are actually consuming more than 6 times the recommended amounts. So, when you look at it, like 200 years ago, it took the average American 5 days to consume the amount of sugar that we find in just 1 can of soda today. And now we're consuming that about every 7 hours. And so the correlation there between our obesity epidemic, and that's just spreading to our children and now affecting nearly half of the population, there's a huge correlation between the sugar consumption and we know that the diseases that are directly linked to that include diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension. So it also correlates with 13 types of cancer, including breast cancer, liver cancer, and colon cancer. So it's a really serious issue, but it is largely preventable. The physical implications of sugar consumption can be pretty well documented, but the associations with mental health may be a little bit less well known. We've heard that phrase that sugar is more addicting than cocaine, and that stems from some studies that find that sugary foods cause a similar effect on our brain chemicals when compared to your brain on drugs. And then the standard American diet, we associate that as high in processed foods, sugars, fats, prepackaged or convenient foods. At my house, I call it Las Vegas in your mouth. The salty, sweet, high fat combinations, they're really addicting. They're hard to stop eating, but they're not really very nutrient dense or providing vitamins or micronutrients or even protein to fuel us, to feel and perform at our best. So it's not surprising that a lot of us are not feeling or performing at our best. And so another study found that in as little as 1 week, eating that Western diet could alter brain function. Participants did worse on learning and memory tests. It's associated with overeating, increased cravings of sugar. Participants, the hippocampus of the brain was affected, which was responsible for emotions, learning, and motivation. So, we think about our teens being in this mental health crisis, and then, you can't ignore the fact that they're eating a lot of sugar, and there's a huge impact there. And then lastly, just talking about the happiness hormone, serotonin is kind of what we think about as affects our mood. And so I did not know this until a few years ago, but the majority of serotonin receptors are actually in our gut. And so when people talk about your gut being the second brain, it kind of all makes sense when you realize that the serotonin receptors are in your gut and affect things like sleep, eating, feelings or mood, and your digestion. So the newer research is finding that the balance of good and bad bacteria in the gut is related to our diet. And so when we think about these diseases that are plaguing modern day Americans, like depression and anxiety, you got to bring it back to the sugar, all the sugar that we're consuming. But the good news is that eating a balanced diet can also affect our mood and help us. Diets that are we're going to be sharing tonight, high in fruits and vegetables and modest and lean protein and void of processed sugars and foods. These are associated with a 25 to 35% lower risk of depression when compared to the typical Western diet. So I know that's kind of heavy stuff, but the fun part starts now. I'm going to pass it off to Cherish to share a little more practical, but thank you for listening to my PSA. I feel a big responsibility to
Yes,
share some
no,
of that.
That is super important to realize what we are consuming. I do want to share just a little bit about some sneaky sugars that we often find in our foods. A lot of them are in breakfast foods like cereals, and they can often be advertised as being whole grain. But if you look at the nutrition label, the second ingredient is often sugar. So for example, a cup of Frosted Flakes contains 12 grams of sugar, which is half of their daily recommended amount. Same thing goes for Pop-Tarts. You can see on the label, it says whole grains, makes it look like it's good, but it is loaded with sugar. And it actually has 30 grams of added sugars, which is more than the daily allotment. And that's before your day has even really gotten started. We see things like yogurt. That has to be a great option, right? Full of protein. That's what we think, and that's what's advertised. But brands like the one that you see here only has 2 grams of protein. This has 10 grams of carbs and contains only 8 grams of sugar. So this is not a great choice for fueling you or your kids' bodies. We see similarly in things like applesauce, protein bars, granola bars, sports drinks, milk, things that we think, oh, this is going to be a good snack for my kid before they go out and play after school. But these are actually, you have to look at the nutrition labels because a lot of these are going to be really heavy with the sugar. So instead of just looking at the health claims on like the front of the box, we need to really look at those added sugars on the label. We know that there's an importance of a balanced diet and healthy lifestyle. And now we're kind of seeing why it might be a little bit harder than we initially thought. But that is okay. Maybe you all already know that there is a huge importance of having a healthy diet and lifestyle for your whole family, but you feel that struggle of how do I make this possible? Why do we feel like it's so hard? Well, the food product and marketing is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And so this makes it really difficult to know what is actually good choices for our family. And we want to help you take that guesswork out by giving you some practical ways of making healthy eating a family affair. So we have 4 tips for you. The first one is to plan out healthy meals and snacks. I like to say it takes a little bit more time on the front end to plan these things out, but in the long term, it's going to save you so much time to think through, okay, what ingredients do I need from the grocery store? And what do I need to prep beforehand in order to have some good choices for myself and my family? And so when we're thinking about balanced meals and snacks, we want to think about these 3 things. So variety, balance, and moderation. So for variety, we would love to see different color foods. That's going to mean different vitamins and minerals. And this is whole foods. This is not like different color M&Ms. So different fruits and veggies throughout the day. That's just going to give you such a great variety of health benefits. For balance, you want to make sure that you are getting a carb, protein, and a healthy fat with every meal and snack. That is going to help you and your kids stay full and satisfied longer. It's going to give you more energy and not have that sugar crash later. And then for moderation, we're talking about treats. So if you want to get, something sweet, that's fine. Have that every once in a while, but make sure you're going back to that plan of really watching those added sugars throughout your day. I don't know about you, my kids love snacks. And snacks are such a great way to offer more variety to our day while keeping us fueled and energized for their school and activities. Making your own snacks is a great way to limit processed foods that are packed with hidden sugar, sodium, and saturated fats. Some different things you can do is have the kids help choose and make healthy snacks. I know for my little one, especially if she helps me make, we love the energy balls. We'll talk about recipes at the end. But these, when she makes it, it makes her even more excited to try it, and it's going to keep her full. and satiated. Ants on a log is another great option. Doing little roll-ups with turkey, deli meat, and hummus. And I know Emily and her family love fuel for fire pouches. So it's
Mhm.
like applesauce pouches, but it has whey protein in it to balance it out. So we just want to make it fun. You can even, like the picture shows, cut out shapes out of bread and meats and cheeses. If it looks fun, they're going to be more likely to give it a try. And then we've got just some balanced snack ideas. I'll just name a couple of these, but these are great, especially on the go. So the first one shows a hard-boiled egg with a cup of berries. So that's a great option. The second one is Greek yogurt with half a cup of berries and a tablespoon of nuts. You just want to make sure on that Greek yogurt that it's not totally full of sugar, and that it's high in protein, beef jerky and an apple, using some deli meat, roll-ups, kind of what we mentioned earlier with maybe a clementine. These are all some great ways to get a balanced snack. And I have to at least mention water. Studies show a parallel between consuming sugary beverages like juice and sodas and sports drinks with the overweight and obesity issues that we're seeing. So we really need to make water our main drink of choice. School-age children need about 6 to 8 cups of water per day, and even more so as it's starting to get warmer or they're being really active. So one way to encourage this water intake is giving them a reusable water bottle. My little one loves to put stickers on hers, and it's just, that's what she has during the day. And so it's just kind of expected. And even my oldest, who's 13, she has her Candy Stanley cup that she brings to school every day. But her goal, this is like on her own, she fills it up 3 times and drinks it 3 bottle full during the school day. And if you're not a big fan of water, you can always refresh it with some different ways, like the slide shows. So you can add some fruit, maybe some herbs to make it a little more yummy for you, like watermelon and cucumber and mint, orange citrus, any berries, whatever sounds good to you. Those can all be some good options to make sure you're getting more water.
Yeah, so our next tip is getting your kids involved. And actually that last slide is a great example, I think, of just fun ways that they can experiment and be a part of it, just mixing different flavors. It's like a chemistry experiment. And I kind of look at this as a way of habit stacking. You know, they're learning about their environment, the natural world, using their hands and experimenting. So we're talking about physical activity, motor skills, science, and math. So we love to involve them even from the grocery visit, bringing your kids grocery shopping. First side note on that is I'm finding that we get 1,000 to 2,000 more steps a day on the days that we go. So that's a plus, because Americans are getting 4,000 steps on average, and we really need closer to 8 to 10. So, but we make it fun. My 8-year-old takes a lot of pride in knowing how to pick out ripe cantaloupes or putting produce on the scale. Another tip is just to offer them healthy options from each food group, like that balanced snack food group chart that Cherish had up. We can send that out to y'all if you liked that. I think that's a great example of like maybe deli meat, beef jerky, or an egg or chicken leg or something. Tell them to pick a protein, pick a fruits and veggies, and pick maybe like a starchy carb of some kind. You can also ask them to help choose ingredients. They can help with finding recipes online or in recipe books. Getting them into the kitchen, when they're exposed to food preparation and cooking, it's going to spark curiosity and create a better relationship with nutrition. And then some ways to include them in food preparation and the cooking process are to let them measure out the ingredients, helping improve their math skills. You can challenge them to practice using measuring cups or scales. Ask them questions like, what are the amounts if they double the recipe or half the recipe? Things that are easy for kids to do typically is just to break it down and make it something simple, like wash the veggies or peel something or tear some herbs or greens, or chopping ingredients can be fun for them when it's age appropriate. They even have little plastic knives that you can buy for children that are safer for them if you want them to learn young. But they can and should assist with cooking and just give them jobs where they can assemble parts of the recipe or stir and season things during different stages of cooking. You can get them involved in creating a dressing or designing a garnish. and let them be artistic too. And then just encourage them to taste the food and get their opinion. And then if you even want to take it outside of the kitchen, growing a garden or some tomatoes, or just starting with like a little head of lettuce that you can keep on your patio. You could go so far as to raise chickens, or just go visit a friend that maybe raises chickens. We have
That'd be
friends that raise
fun.
chickens that we'll visit.
I love that. And tip number 3 is to utilize different cooking methods and recipes. So I did not know this earlier, but you need to try a new food 10 times before your taste buds can really decide whether they like it or not. And that does not mean 10 bites in the same meal, but 10 different occasions. So if you have a picky eater at your house, keep putting that food in front of them. Let them try it again and again. And if they don't love it, don't give up on that type of food. Maybe you just need to try to prepare it in a different way. So say you make some steamed broccoli and they do not like it, then try roasting it. That's one of our favorite ways at our house, and they may end up loving it. So most kids love more of a crunchy texture when they're eating cooked veggies. And we're also going to talk about some of our favorite tools for utilizing cooking methods. But before that, I want to share with you just an idea. So this is called Friday Try Day. So we want to make trying new things fun, especially if you've got a younger one in the house. You could make Friday a day where you encourage your kids to try something new. This could be a new ingredient or food, a new recipe, or even a new cooking method. And just have them describe, do they like it? Do they not? What does it taste like? And maybe even consider having a non-food reward, maybe like some kind of experience after an agreed upon timeline after they try some new things. Now let's talk about some different cooking methods real quick. So crock pot, I mean, that's one of my favorites. I love that you can just put it in there and you don't have to think about it anymore, especially busy nights. My kids play soccer, and so sometimes we don't get home till late. And to know that the dinner's already made is just a huge plus. And this slide shows our pulled pork, not pork, chicken recipe. That is one of our favorites, and you can utilize it in so many different recipes. So we can share more about recipes in a minute as well. Air fryers, this is a great way to prepare veggies like Brussels sprouts and cauliflower to get that crunchy texture that kids often like. You can also make fruit and veggie chips. We also love muffin tins. They are already proportioned out for your kids, which is great. And these silicone tins are so easy to pop out because the muffins don't stick very in there, so they just pop out easily. And we've got some great recipes of muffins that are kid approved, like our egg muffins that are full of protein, and blueberry protein muffins. So those are fun to try as well. And then baking and roasting. Roasting is probably my favorite way to eat veggies, and my kids as well. You can also do things like panko crusted chicken. And the best part about it is you can put everything in at the same time and have your whole meal going in the oven, which is also really nice.
So our last kind of tip is that it does start with you when it comes to healthy eating. As caregivers, we need to lead by example, and starting healthy habits at a young age is more important than we all realize. I think understanding nutrition, choosing whole foods, and establishing these healthy habits can create such a good foundation for health long term. So it's really important to practice what we preach as we serve as role models. And, if you're telling your child to eat their vegetables, but not doing it yourself, or eating fast food, but then ranting about how unhealthy it is, that just causes confusion and resentment. But when you lead by example, it definitely makes it easier for others to follow, and especially those little ones looking up to us. But just really remember variety, balance, and moderation. And then our HSM principles, we definitely recommend adding more whole foods if you stick with that. Eating from things that either had a mother or grow from the ground. It takes out a lot of the guesswork, not having to check labels and ingredients, and then incorporating balance, 6 minutes. Focusing on balancing protein, carbs, and fats on your plate. And then, as we mentioned, limiting added sugars. Again, I can't harp enough on just keeping it below 30 a day would be a great place to start. It'll definitely make you realize some of the things that you may rely on, you might want to switch out. The plate method is fantastic for kind of incorporating all of this and taking out, you don't have to weigh and measure. You can just kind of think about your plate like this. So we love the plate method. I can do this at a wedding. I can do this at home, of course, or even if I have to go to a Weigel's gas station and deal with boiled eggs and string cheese or beef jerky and a banana or some carrot sticks, I can still kind of make it work with a more whole foods approach. We do have some family friendly resources to get you started at healthystepsnutrition.com. There's a lot of kid approved recipes available at the website listed here. And then we love our founder, Nicole Acoin's Nutrition Made Simple podcast, especially episode number 74. It has an 11-year-old's message to inspire kids to eat healthy, which is a really cool one. So if you're struggling with nutrition, sleep, stress, movement, or mindset, and wanting to learn more about what it looks like to work with a health coach, we would love for you to reach out. We're going to have an offer for y'all tonight if you're interested in doing that. And so, yeah, did you want to make an offer? I think, okay.
Different things.
But you can't do it from there.
Switch places with me.
My husband's coming in now.
Hey guys, so real quick in the chat for this guy, there is a link to a discovery call. If you set one of those up, and we talk to you and you decide that you want to do it, we'll know that you set up from this call. And what we're going to do is we're going to so normally with our nutrition coaching, we have a 3-month onboarding process. It's more expensive than ongoing coaching. And so what we're going to do is give you guys all the ongoing coaching price. So that's a savings over that first 3 months of about $150, I think. So that's a really good deal. The other thing is, if you just want to some resources from us, pop your email address in there and your name. So I know your name and your email address, and I see, and we'll send you. I made a really good packet, but I have kids too. So tonight we're going to be getting them in bed. I'll send you the packet tomorrow with a bunch of cool resources about eating out and grocery shopping and all that kind of stuff, so that you can have that reference to go to anytime you want to. But I think we're probably running out of minutes on our.
We have just
Zoom.
a few minutes. If anybody does have any questions that they would like to pop on and ask, we could do that. We have about 4 minutes left. This was kind of our first bat at this, so it's going to cut off in just about 3 minutes. But if anybody has any questions, we have a couple minutes and we'd be glad to answer any that you have. We kind of ended up having to rush through that talk. We're testing this whole system, and anyway, thank you all so much for coming. Does anybody want to ask us something? Test us.
Hey, it's Amy. Just real quick, I'll just sweeten the pot for anybody that's interested. If you reach out to Emily and Cherish and Eric for more information, I will throw in a free service at R3 to come check us out and try a service that might be of interest to you. And so just reach out to them and I will work with them and I will get you your free service, and come check us out as well.
I can't see how much time it's going to give me, but can you close that? Something I did, I can't figure out how. Something I did want to mention if I had time was I'm going to be totally real. Like, one of my biggest go-tos, Vibrant Meals. We've been shopping for our clients a lot at Publix, and going in and finding the pre-prepared meals that you can pop into the oven. There are becoming a lot more options. I was told today by one of my clients, like the Publix over on Shallowford, not so great. They told her to go to the one on Broad or here on the North Shore. Those have the better options for sort of like, it's almost like it's prepared at your house, but it's not, and it's in like a tin, so you can pop it into your oven. Because we do rely on stuff like that pretty often. I'm also finding that there's deli counters like River Street and Southern Star where you can get like black-eyed pea salads or chicken salads. And these are going to be better options than a lot of the stuff that you have to get on the go, because so many of us are truly on the go so much of the time. We're coming in from out of town. So those fuel for fires, like I drive around with them, those pouches in my car. There was one more thing I was going to mention, other kind of the secret around town stuff. And then there's also companies that you can order meals from that are pre-made and frozen, and those can come in really handy coming off of travel and things like that, I find. So I know Factor, Icon, and Trifecta, and we have a pretty good deal with Trifecta. If that's something you'd be interested in, we can hook you up with a good starter package with them.
Another little tidbit, just when you're going grocery shopping, and many of you may know this, but to stay on the outer edges of the grocery store is going to be your best bet to get those whole foods. So as you're grocery shopping, think, where am I spending more time? Am I going down every aisle? Because that's where all the processed food are.
Mhm.
But to go around, that's where you're going to see the produce and the meats and the dairy and that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
just and even those prepackaged meals, I know the one in St. Elmo, it's by the meat section.
Mhm.
So you'll be able to find those things a little easier there.
All right. I think it's going to cut us off.
Okay.
Thanks again, Amy, for joining and being a part of this, and everyone who made it out for our first one.
Yes, thank you so
We
much.
appreciate y'all. We're going to sign out. Good night.
All right.
What should I stop first?
A video, maybe. What's that gonna?
Stop video. I can't figure out how to stop it, Eric.